That's like the angriest I've been in a year, so of course it ends up in a song. I was just talking with Evan.
I don't know. I think that when you got angry at the caller for the Michigan not getting the touchdown, that may have been the angriest.
Maybe you're right.
Yeah.
I was talking with Evan because we're going to get to this Yzerman thing. I think Troy Weaver just said something that made me angry. I can't win in this town.
I was going to say, if you're angry about what Yzerman had to say, just wait.
I'm tired of Troy Weaver's "I'm the smartest guy in the room" routine. I've had enough of him. Okay? But whatever. Let's stick to the plan because the Lord, Stevie Y, spoke. Lord knows you can't say anything bad about Stevie Y. Greatest rebuild in history. So here's my point. He spoke today, and I'm going to play this. And all I will tell you is that while I don't know what is or is not true, if this is what he's actually thinking, I'm out. I'm totally out. Because my issue is always, and I'm guilty of it sometimes, I am not putting myself on a pedestal. I'm not saying I'm better. I'm saying I'm guilty of it sometimes. We get too comfortable when a team makes a really good hire, and we give somebody a little bit too long of a leash. Now, we have all said this summer has to be impactful for the Red Wings. It is time. The base is there. They got about 6, 7, 8 guys on this team that are all the same. None of them are first liners. None of them are leaders. None of them are going to get us a Stanley Cup. We need to add the pieces. Season ticket players, as Kenny and I like to say. Not that real tickets are a thing anymore, but you get my point. Well, Yzerman spoke today. If what he's saying is true, I want to know where you're at as a fan in this town. And you don't even have to like the Red Wings. You could just want the Red Wings as background noise. You could just want to be one of the bandwagon fans who puts a stupid flag on your minivan. I don't care. I can't take what he's about to play. Are you ready? Take a listen to this. Are you kidding me? The last thing this team needs is more prospects that are 3, 4, 5 years away. Now, if he said at number 1, I'm not trading the pick, we're taking Connor Bedard, no stress. I get it. You could be at 2 and want to take the Russian kid. Fine. You're at 9 and 17. Now, I don't know that's how he feels. It is misinformation season. But I'd like the quote about the team's core. I'd like the quote about where he feels the rebuild is and whether this is going to be an aggressive offseason. Do we have that one? What one is that labeled?
I have to put that in. That's a different cut.
Oh, for God's sakes, fellas. Come on. That's the best one. Basically, he says the core is nowhere close to a Stanley Cup. He says that, no, we're taking our time. He was asked about, do you feel pressure? And he goes, not really. Come on.
I have the pressure cut.
Then play that one. I want to know where people are at, because this is a Kenny Cott issue, too. Kenny and I have said this summer, at the end of this summer, it's got to be a totally different team. It's got to be a team that's got intrigue. It's got to be a team that's got a signature player, 40-goal scorer. It's got to be a team that we can rally behind, because we've given this man time. He's earned it. He is a legend here, but then he was also a high-level GM with Tampa. He was the architect of a team that eventually won a Stanley Cup. My point is, when is enough? Doesn't feel pressure.
No.
Doesn't foresee he's going to get rid of the picks. Core's nowhere near good enough, so we're just going to go ahead and take our time and build it the right way. How many times do we have to hear this in this town? Come on. Now, Kenny's giggling. He's shaking his head like we're talking Big Ten football.
Well,
Kenny, join the conversation.
Because I got a question I got to ask Kenny, but it does sound like a man who has been told, you will not be fired.
Oh, never.
You do things your way. We're going to step away, and we're going to trust you and everything that you want to do. We're not going to walk in there. We're not going to do anything. That's what he sounds like. That's just confidence of, yeah, I know you guys want a quick fix, but
and again,
that's not how I do things.
I don't know if he believes a word of it. I'm playing the game that if this is what he really thinks, I'm out.
Now, my question that I'm going to ask Kenny.
Look at him when you do it. I mean, respect the man enough to look him in the eyes.
No.
Get over there. Look at Kenny. The man's sad. Look at him. Don't look at me. You don't need to look at me. Look at him.
No, it was all a part of theatrics.
I don't care. Talk to the hockey.
I was going to talk to him, Mike.
Please do.
It was a slow chair turn.
Do it. Like a Bond villain.
Right.
Over there.
The question for Kenny.
There it is.
Do you view this similar to what OTAs are for the Lions? This doesn't matter. This is just word soup. It's just for the media. It's just for people to just attach themselves to and get angry over.
Let me ask you a question to answer your question.
Wow. Woo!
Does anybody in this room or listening at home believe anything a GM has to say a week before the draft? A week before the draft?
I actually believe some of what he said.
I think you're a lunatic if that's the case.
That's fine.
I don't believe anything. He's playing his cards close to the vest. He's trying to assess as much value to those picks as possible. Whether he trades them or not, I don't know. But what I do know, and by the way, I agree in principle that if he does make those picks and he doesn't make a big splash, the offseason's a failure.
I will
condemn him if that's the case.
Like if he uses both 9 and 17, you better be singing a tune from a different set
The
list.
only way that doesn't happen is if he uses his other picks to still acquire a star. If he can make those picks and still get a star,
Fair.
I'm not complaining.
That's fair.
But-
I'm not mad. That's fair.
But if he doesn't, if he stands pat, makes the picks, does not make a splash, that's a condemnable move.
So if he makes the picks, you don't believe, you know what, he saw something that nobody else saw, and these two guys are going to be good.
If it's a repeat of last offseason where he just picks a bunch of guys for the middle of the team, then yeah, I think that's a problem. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think this was all just, dressing. I think this was all just for show. I don't.
Okay. But
This is a GM speaking like a GM speaks.
We at least have a middle ground on this, that if that was the truth, you're out. Can't do it. There has to be a standard in this town. There's got to be an eventual point. Like Troy Weaver's the same deal. I mean, David's got to get the rest of this audio in, and then we can get Troy Weaver. I mean, this Troy Weaver thing, David, set up the Weaver audio, please.
Oh, I thought you asked about the core.
You screwed me up. He goes, I got it. Hold on. Everybody calm down. All right, this is ridiculous. Troy Weaver's out here like the smartest man in the world going, the new collective bargaining agreement. There's opportunities for some vulnerable teams. Hey, Troy, you're the mark. Teams wait and find you, Troy. Like at a certain point.
They're the anti-Rays.
Right. I mean, at a certain point, I'm done with the whole Jaleel Okafor, Marvin Bagley, Nerlens Noel, Josh Jackson, Apple Jackson, all of it. I'm tired of it. And it's the same thing. Now, Yzerman is certainly more accomplished than Troy. And Yzerman's rebuild is on much better footing. Mm-hmm. But the principle's the same thing. You don't just do this slow churn to greatness. There comes a point where I don't want to hear from Yzerman, the core is nowhere close. Well, then it calls into question what we're doing here.
But I think a lot of it just boils down to the fact that, unlike when the Wings were in their heyday, they simply had to just say, hey, anybody want to be a Wing?
I know.
Everybody ran to Detroit.
And there was no cap. It was different.
But all the other sports, it's difficult getting people to actually want to come and play here. So the only viable option is you got to draft, you got to develop, and it takes some time. And I know that's not what anybody wants to hear.
We're done with time. But we're done. I don't want to hear it. We're done with time. And look, he plays things as close to the vest as anybody. It won't shock me on draft night if he makes a deal.
Weaver or Yzerman?
Yzerman.
Oh, okay.
All I'm saying is when I heard the comments, I went, man, what if it is danger hiding in plain sight? What if he actually believes this? Yeah. So I wanted to ask people because we it's one thing, Rico, when we talk about it in February and they're flirting with the playoffs and then obviously fell out of it, made some trades. When I say, hey, I want them to have a big summer and Kenny says it, that's one thing. But when the time is actually here, I think it's just good to check in with the fans and go, all right, we all hope Yzerman is playing 4D chess. We all hope he's going to do what he's always done. Yeah. I'm asking the question if that's what he actually thinks.
Yeah, because he just sounded like a man who was just comfortable knowing I can't be fired.
Oh, no, never. Never.
I mean, that's just how I took it.
And he's done a good job. I don't think it's been this uber fabulous gig where, like, we still haven't made the playoffs, guys. So,
right.
Like, just take it easy when you want to throw out greatest rebuild ever, like it's the Lego movie. Come on. We haven't made the playoffs. That's not a high bar in the NHL either. I think we'd all agree.
Yeah, but it just didn't seem like there was any stress. Like, I got this.
No, and I don't think there should be. I think the stress comes if this offseason's underwhelming. If we enter next season and we don't have somebody on this team that is a bona fide first-line offensive threat, regardless of team caliber, meaning don't be a first-line coyote. You're a first-liner no matter where I drop you. If we don't come away with that type of player this offseason, then what the hell are we doing?
That big first splash that we've all been waiting for.
Feel like it's time, don't you?
Yeah.
And whether you're a hockey neophyte or whether you're a diehard and you call hockey jerseys sweaters, all opinions are welcome. We want our teams to win. And obviously we all have faith in Yzerman. It was the best hire the team could make. But how much more time are you going to wait before he delivers on war chesting capital is fine, but take it from somebody who lived through Danny Ainge. When you hoard your picks and you hoard your picks and you hoard your picks and you never want to trade them, you know what you end up with? You're a bridesmaid and never a bride. I lived it. So I guess I have a bias. Clearly, Yzerman, please, he's got more hockey knowledge in his right nut than I got in my whole body. That's not what it's about. We just sit back as fans and we go, all right, well, we've waited how many years? They're on an almost linear progression, but isn't it time to make a move where you're like, hey, now this is the new face of the team. Right. While the young guys can play catch up, this is the face of the team.
It's year 5, right? Going into year 5.
Yeah. I mean, come on, man. Am I wrong?
No, I mean, you're waiting for that one where you're like, okay, and it starts today. Yeah. Right here. That's the deal.
248-539-9797. I got a couple open lines. You guys are welcome. Look, and if you don't like my take on it, my feelings won't be hurt. My goal is I want action. I want to win. And I feel like we've all been patient. I feel like we've just sat here and let them work. This summer has to be the summer. So hopefully those comments are nothing more than folly. And he's going to go against everything he said. I just want to know where you're at.
Yeah. Kenny made a good point. Week before the draft, you don't believe anything.
I actually hope he uses 9 and 17 so Kenny's head explodes.
That's rude.
No, because then it's RFR.
Yeah.
Then Kenny's got to come on the air, and what's he going to do?
It'll be a sad day.
There will be no Kenny. Floral Fridays are canceled forever.
Right.
All the fun time is gone.
No.
The hat stays on forever.
Forever. No hairdo. No going to games. I mean, it would be the equivalent of David renouncing Jesus if you came on the air and went, I'm done with Yzerman. I am done.
Yeah. Like, Kenny, why don't you just take a couple days off? You'll be okay. No. Let's do the show. I hate him.
Hell, I'm rooting for it now.
You know what?
I hope he trades down and takes 17 third-rounders.
You're gonna leave the show at 2:00.
RL Beer. Take him to church.